My darlings, have I got a tale for you? A woman so powerful she shaped a king, so beautiful she was called the goddess of the moon, and so obsessed with youth it may have been her downfall. Diane de Poitiers was more than just a royal mistress. She was a mastermind, a force, and a beauty icon whose secrets came at a deadly cost. Betrayal, revenge, and gold drinking beauty hacks gone horribly wrong. This story has it all. Buckle up because things are about to get scandalous. Are you ready? Welcome, my darlings, to Beauty Unlocked. I'm Carissa, and you know I don't shy away from the juiciest, most scandalous beauty stories history has to offer. Today, we're diving into the life of a woman who defied age, wielded power like a queen, and became the ultimate Renaissance beauty icon. We're talking about Diane de Poitiers, the woman who seduced a king, commanded a nation from the shadows, allegedly, and drank liquid gold to maintain her legendary beauty. Her lifelong rivalry with Catherine de Medici, later known as the Black Queen, is the stuff of legends. But let's not forget, like much of history, the story of these two women was written and shaped through the lens of men. Diane was born in 1499 into a noble family in France. Her early years were privileged, but like many aristocratic women, her future was dictated by marriage. At just 15, she was married off to a much older man, Louis de Brezé, a close advisor to King Francis I. Despite their 40-year age gap, yes, you heard that right, Diane played the part of the dutiful wife. But here's where it gets interesting. Diane wasn't just another noblewoman fading into the background. She was highly educated, fluent in Latin and Greek, and skilled in philosophy. She also had a deep passion for physical fitness, horseback riding, hunting, and swimming, giving her a level of independence that was rare for women at the time. When Diane arrived in the French court, she was said to exude iridescent beauty, rivaling that of Diana, goddess of the moon. Praised as La Belle des Belles, she soon caught the eye of many noblemen and the attention of Prince Henri. Rumored to suffer a loveless and motherless childhood, the young prince, 20 years Diane's junior, claimed to have never felt love until the enigmatic noblewoman took him under her wing. She eventually became the mentor and mistress of the young prince and was a permanent fixture in the French court from his childhood through his reign as King Henri II. After her husband's death in 1531, Diane adopted the attire of a mourning widow. But make no mistake, my friends, she was a widow with power. It was during this period that her sharp financial mind and legal savvy first became evident. Refusing to be sidelined, she secured her late husband's lucrative position as Grand Seneschal of Normandy and boldly contested the requirement to return her family's lands to the royal domain. King Francis I, impressed by her determination and intelligence, granted her an unusual privilege, the right to manage her estates independently without the oversight of a male guardian, allowing her to retain their substantial revenues. In 1533, Henri married Catherine de Medici, a match that faced resistance at the French court. Many saw the Medici family as nothing more than wealthy merchants, unworthy of royal ties. However, Diane supported the union, as she and Catherine were actually second cousins. You see, Catherine's maternal grandfather and Diane's paternal grandmother were siblings. Now, during the early years of their marriage, Henri and Catherine struggled to conceive. When Henri became heir to the throne in 1536 after his brother's death, Diane, ever the strategist, grew concerned. If Catherine were cast aside due to her inability to produce an heir, Diane's own influence could be threatened. Determined to secure her position, she ensured that Henri spent plenty of time in his wife's bed. Ultimately, everybody's efforts paid off. The royal couple went on to have 10 children. Diane's involvement didn't stop there. In a move of both power and preservation, she personally tended to Catherine when she fell gravely ill. My. Now, let's talk about Diane and Henri's dynamic. When they started their relationship, Diane was 35. Henri was just 15. Scandalous, right? Oh my god. But here's the twist. Diane wasn't some fleeting courtly affair. She shaped Henri, groomed him, guiding him politically and emotionally, groomed him. Their relationship wasn't just about passion. She became his mentor, his advisor, and ultimately the most powerful woman in France once he ascended the throne. I mean, I know I shouldn't be judging from a modern lens, but what the hell do a 35 and a 15-year-old have in common? Nothing. My God, woman, he's old enough to be your son, okay? I mean, the fuck? Henri was utterly devoted to Diane, even publicly displaying his affection, something unheard of for a royal mistress. He gave her gifts and estates, and although she was not openly involved in politics, Diane's sharp intellect, confident maturity, and loyalty to Henri made her his most dependable ally at court. He trusted her to write many of his official letters, which were signed jointly with the one name, Henri Diane. Henri went as far as entrusting Diane with the crown jewels of France. Oh my God. And gave her the Chateau de Chenonceau, a piece of royal property that his wife Catherine had wanted for herself. Although the chateau's ownership remained with the crown until 1555, Diane was the unquestioned mistress of the chateau, the jewel of the Loire Renaissance palaces. I swear, Catherine was stewing in her juices. This woman was probably thinking, I risked my life 10 times, and gave this motherfucker 10 children. 10! I'm telling you, she was definitely waiting to exact revenge. And that, my friends, she served. Patience is a virtue. Despite her immense influence at court, Diane's power was entirely tied to King Henri's reign and well-being. And in 1559, the unthinkable happened. During a jousting tournament, Henri suffered a devastating injury. His lance bore Diane's ribbon, not his wife. A symbolic, yet tragic detail. And Catherine was probably thinking, serves you right, ya cunt. The wound would soon prove fatal. Seizing the moment, Queen Catherine swiftly took control, barring Diane from entering the royal chambers. In the agonizing 10 days leading up to his death, 10 days, Henri was said to have repeatedly called out for Diane, but she was never allowed to see him. In a final act of erasure, she was also excluded from his funeral, breaking with custom and tradition. When I tell you that Catherine served, she served. Oh, but that's not all. Catherine forced Diane to return the Chateau de Chenonceau, Henri's lavish gift to Diane, and the one that Catherine wanted the most, in exchange for the less prestigious Chateau de Chaumont. I mean, at the end of the day, you still received another chateau. Now, while Diane was not formally stripped of her noble titles, she was effectively banished from court life and lost much of the privilege and authority she had enjoyed during Henri's reign. She lived for a while at the Chateau of Chaumont, after which she spent the rest of her life in the comfort at the Chateau d'Annette. In 1565, she suffered a fall during a ride from which she never fully recovered and died a year later. She was 66 years old. Now that's the juicy backstory. Let's get into Diane's most notorious beauty secret. The obsession with anti-aging wasn't just a 16th century fixation. People have been chasing youth with bizarre and dangerous potions for centuries. Apothecaries of the time peddled everything from scorpion oil to spiderweb elixirs. But gold? That was the holy grail of longevity. The belief that gold held life-extending properties went way back. Pliny the Elder, we have an episode on him. The Roman naturalists swore by it as a remedy for warts and ulcers. Wei Buyang, a Chinese alchemist from the 2nd and 3rd century CE, described gold as immortal, claiming that those who consumed it would enjoy longevity. The ancient Egyptians were just as convinced. Gold water was a staple in their anti-aging arsenal, inspired by the idea that since gold never corroded, it must hold the secret to eternal youth. Fast forward to the medieval era, and gold drinking wasn't just an eccentric experiment. It was a full-blown craze. As Lydia Kang and Nate Pedersen detail in Quackery, y'all should read it, I highly recommend it, some ambitious alchemists discovered how to dissolve solid gold into liquid form, giving birth to aurum potabile, aka drinkable gold. By the 16th century, this gold elixir was being sold as a miraculous cure-all, promising to heal everything from epilepsy to mania. Gold-infused recipes even found their way into chemistry manuals, thanks to French medical professionals like Jean Béguin and Christophe Glaser. But no one took the obsession further than Pope John the 21st? That Pope John. In 1578, this short-lived pontiff put together an exhausting 6-day recipe for a gold-laced, youth-preserving potion. It involved mixing gold, silver, iron, copper, steel, and lead fillings with, well, let's just say some questionable ingredients. On the first day, the mixture had to soak in the urine of a virgin child. Then came white wine, fennel juice, egg whites, a nursing woman's milk, more red wine, and you guessed it, more egg whites. You had to keep doing this for 6 days because we had plenty of time in those days to do such things. But I digress. Centuries later, scientists confirmed what should have been obvious. Drinking metal isn't exactly a longevity hack. Diane died in Annette, France in 1566, but her remains turned up during an excavation of a mass grave in the area in 2009. It's thought that her body was exhumed and her grave destroyed during the French Revolution. In analyzing de Poitiers' hair, researchers writing in the British Medical Journal concluded that she likely died of chronic intoxication due to her long habit of drinking gold. In May 2010, she was reburied at her original tomb in the Château d'Annette. Yet gold-infused drinks still exist. Ever had Goldschlager? Yeah, those little flakes swirling in your shot glass are real gold. But don't worry, it's nowhere near Diane's deadly dose. Safe to say, if you're looking for the key to eternal youth, my friends, maybe stick to retinol and SPF and let time do what it does. So, my loves, what's the takeaway from Diane de Poitiers' story? That beauty has always been power? That age is just a number until it isn't? Or maybe that history's most iconic women weren't just defined by their looks, but by their intelligence, strategy, and resilience. After all, in a time when women were denied the opportunities afforded to men, they had to use every tool at their disposal, including their beauty, to wield influence and secure their place in a world that sought to sideline them. Diane played the game, and she played it well. She shaped a king, outmaneuvered a queen, for a while at least, until Catherine served, and became a legend in her own right. But even the most powerful women of history weren't immune to the pressures of beauty standards. Pressures so intense, Diane literally drank gold in the hopes of keeping time at bay. And let's be honest, are we really that different today? We may not be chugging liquefied metal, I hope we're not, but we're still bombarded with the same impossible promises. Eternal youth, perfect skin, beauty without consequences. The difference? Now it's wrapped in sleek packaging and backed by science instead of alchemy. That's it for today's episode of Beauty Unlocked. If you love this dive into Renaissance beauty and scandal, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow us on TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, my lovelies, stay hydrated, definitely wear that SPF, and stay safe. You'll hear from me again next week. Bye.
Make it clap, clap, clap. Make it clap, clap, clap. Make it clap, clap, clap. Make it clap, clap. Make it clap.